Good afternoon to good afternoon to our students joining us from all over Education USA offices and centers from Lagos, Abuja, Jos, Ibadan. I hope you all are doing well today. Uh, so if you can hear me, I would like to know, first of all, where are you all joining us from? Can you drop that in the chat room so that we'll know where you all are joining us from? Oh, there's an echo. Can you hear me better now? Is it better?
It's okay from my end.
It's okay to me here too.
Yeah.
Okay. So Oluwadarasimi, I think you might need to check maybe your network because if it's echoing from your side, seems like you're the only one. There is no echo. Thank you. Thank you so much. So someone is joining us from Unilag and we have people from Lagos. Thank you so much. All right. So today we'll be looking at understanding the US education system beyond rankings. And why are we looking at this topic? We're looking at this topic to help you make better informed decision while researching your options and applying to school. What we are going to be looking at this afternoon is the overview of the education system and the US education system. We'll be looking at the types of the US institution and how rankings work. We'll also look at the limitations of ranking and key factors beyond ranking, and also how to make the right choice. But before we start, let's do a little exercise, right? If you have a pen and a book with you, I'd like you to write what's your dream school. It's not just that you want to study in the US. Probably you've had some sort of a dream school. So write it down and also tell us why that dream school, why you prefer that school to be your dream school. Tell us the course you want to study. Write it down. We'll go back to this same point by the time we are done with the presentation. Now, one question that I want to pop in is, I know we all have heard about Harvard and who wouldn't want to go to Harvard after all, right? So the question is, if Harvard dropped out of a global ranking tomorrow, like you woke up and it's all over the news, CNN, BBC, everyone is saying it that, oh, Harvard just dropped out of ranking, would that make Harvard a bad school? And if maybe one university, probably in Minnesota, made it to the ranking list, of probably depending on the ranking list that you've been looking at, would you say that that school is now the new best school? So just have that at the back of your mind or ponder on this question. If a school that you've always loved dropped out of ranking, would that make that school a bad school? Now let's look at the overview of the US education system. If you have been an Education USA scholar working with us in Education USA, maybe within the last 6 to 8 months or even recently, one of the first things that we'll talk about during our orientation is the overview of the education system in the US and how it differs with what you originally have in Nigeria. In the US, you have associate degree, where you go to school for 2 years, to a community college for 2 years, and afterwards you get what is called an associate degree. You also have the undergraduate degree that gives you a bachelor's degree, where you go to school for 4 years, and afterwards you earn a bachelor's degree. Or for your master's degree, some school would have 1 year master's degree program, whilst others might have about 2 years master's degree program. And then also for PhD, your PhD could go as far as it could be for 4 years, could be for 5 years or 6 years, depending on the program and how the curriculum is structured. Now that you know how the US education system is structured, let's look at what's made the US education pathway a unique one, right? Remember that one of the things that we always say is that the US education system gives you the flexibility that no, not many universities around the world will give you such flexibility. So as an undergraduate student, you have that leverage of choosing your majors, minors, and choosing your electives. Also, the fact that you are going to work with advisors that will, counselors that will do some hand holding to make sure that you're choosing the courses or the majors that would take you to the right or to the your preferred career path. Now, also the US education system have this credit-based learning system. So as you are going to school and at the end of every semester, you earn some credits. And as an international student, there is also a base credit that you're supposed to earn for you to proceed to the next year. They also have this liberal art approach where the curriculum and the program is so broad and specialized. And that makes you to have a better perspective about programs, about life, and about how the education or whatever program that you're doing is structured. You have the continuous assessment where you have the GPA system. At the end of every semester, I should, as a matter of fact, the first time I heard that someone can earn GPA that is maybe on a 4.0 scale, that you can earn 4.2 over 4.0. The first time I ever heard it is with the US education pathway. So now that some of these things are what makes it very unique. Remember that students, as a student, you don't just go there to study a course. You have that liberty to design the education pathway that you want. That's why you find out that some students probably had got admitted to study something like maybe chemistry, and by the time you get to school, with the programs or the courses that you had taken, you find yourself gradually tending towards going for maybe chemical engineering. So some of these things are probably things that you read about, and it spurred you to start nurturing the fact that a US education system might be the best for you, right? There are also types of institutions in the US that will help you to make this important decision, because it's not just about, oh, I found this school, I researched and I found this school, or my cousin said I should put this school because that's where he's attending, or I have a couple of friends that went to the US to study and decided I should apply to their school. You need to think about the school that fits what you're looking for. You have the community colleges, you have the public universities that are state funded. You also have the private universities that most of the resources are, most the school is probably funded by with the US government taxpayers' money, right? You have the liberal arts colleges with smaller class system, but with a broad and holistic educational approach. You also have the research institutions. Some of these institutions have very strong research output that from first year, even as an undergraduate student, from first year in school, you started carrying out research. So for different institutions, we serve different purposes. And the truth is that what works for you may not be what works, or the kind of institution that works for your twin brother or sister, or even your best friend. Now, let's look at the main reason why we are here. Beyond understanding how the school system works in the US, let's look at rankings. And if you can remember, some of you, the first time you are making contact with us, or maybe your parents brought you for general orientation, I don't know, but I know that many other advisors also have this same to say, that one of the things that happens is you see a parent walk up to you and said, I want my child to go to Harvard. My child is very good with this and wants to study engineering. Can that child not just go to MIT? Do you help people to get admission into MIT? These are the kind of questions that we understand. And then when you ask them why MIT or why Harvard, they said, that they are ranked high. but they don't even understand how these rankings happen or who does these rankings. So the first question is, what is even this ranking? How is education, the US education ranked, right? So many university ranking basically is that system used to evaluate and compare universities based on a set of defined criteria. So some of those criteria might just be their research, might be the way the school, their classroom activities. So there are too many things that they are put into consideration. Simply put, just say that ranking is more like looking at the performances of a school, looking at the research output, looking at the quality of faculty or the resources actually that. And sometimes you realize that whenever these rankings, when or ranking organization release these rankings, people are so quick to go and check to know where, oh, this particular university I want to attend, what are they now ranked? Or, oh, did this school drop in their ranking, or did this school get into the ranking system? So having that understanding that ranking means finding a school, like placing a school with a particular reputation or particular factor, or evaluating a school with a particular factor is what ranking is. Now, what are some popular ranking system? You have the QS World Ranking System. Another ranking body is Times Higher Education. Also do some rankings. You also have the US News and World Report rankings, and you have Forbes. So sometimes you hear someone said, "Oh, that Forbes ranked ABC school to be number one in." They can call maybe number one in business, or number one in engineering, or number one in research. So there is no two ranking bodies. Sometimes you realize that there two ranking bodies can't rank the same school the same at a particular year. So having that now understanding, why do people consider university rankings? Why is it important, especially to maybe parents? Why is it important to you as a student? So sometimes we realize that people consider ranking because it's easy for them to say, okay, I don't know where to start, but at least I can start with the schools that have been ranked highest in mathematics or highest in research. So they are faced with too many schools, 4,000 plus accredited institutions. You don't even know where do I start from. So some of them will start with, okay, I heard that this school is ranked number one in ABC, so I will start from there. It also helps students, because it helps with easy comparison, right? Okay, if this school is ranked ABC at this, maybe I should look at the programs and the curriculum to see if it fits for me. And there is also this myth that people think that once you go to a highly ranked school, or a top 10 ranked school, you are going to get jobs. That, oh, I heard that people that went to this school, because it's a highly ranked school, once they graduate, or they get recruited easily, or once employers hear that I went to the ABC University, the next thing is they'll make me an offer. So that's meant of having that at the back of your mind while choosing a school could be one of the reasons why people think about ranking. Or also think about the prestige. Oh, once I say that I went to this school now, people will start respecting me. People will give me better opportunities. I will get a seat on the table. Whilst I'm not disputing that these things are not okay to put into consideration, I'm also saying that they shouldn't be the priority for looking at rankings. Now let's even talk about the pressures coming from our parents and the society, right? So there are some parents that take pride in saying, "Oh, my, have you heard that my child is going to ABC University? You know that school, or even if you know, but they will say around you, you know that school is actually ranked as number one in engineering." It's for them is a thing of pride. And I have also seen parents that will refuse their children from going to a particular university just because they feel is not within their social status. They won't be able they won't be able to brag that their child is going to that school, even if that school is the best fit for their world. So the society that we find ourselves in can also put that pressure on a student or on a parent to get into a school that maybe considerably may not even be the best school or best fit school for that student, but because of that the school is highly ranked and because it's going to give their parents or even themselves a bragging right, you find them going to that school. Sometimes they might even be struggling, but for the fact that I don't have to drop out from this school so that I will not, nobody will laugh at me. You find them, they continue going through, right, through that school. Now, what rankings typically measure and what it does not measure? Ranking does not measure everything. There are basically some things that ranking won't look at or won't tell you. I would like to say that ranking is like looking at a movie rating and going through that movie rating, but the movie, and you'll be like, oh, this movie has been rated 5 star. However, there are some things that you only get to discover when you finally start watching that movie. It's not also going to tell you that movie is it fits your personality or fits what you are looking for, right? So what ranking will basically measure is academic reputation, how that university is perceived globally. Ranking will also measure the research output, will measure the publications. They will look at, oh, that this professor or that this student has published with Times or carried out this ABC research. Is going to measure the faculty quality, right? But we will not tell you if that faculty, if the quality of that faculty is something or best suits you as a student, as a person, right? It will tell you, oh, that the student ratio is about, student faculty ratio is 10 to 1 or is 5 to 1. But they won't tell you whether it's going to be the same for every single major of every single program, right? Then student selectivity. Ranking will measure the admission competitiveness. You hear something like, oh, it's 7% admittance. So yes, whilst we look at some of these things, are they good? Yes. But should they be the priority whilst you would decide to go to a particular school? I would definitely say no. So ranking will also look at the fundings and the facilities. So, and they will look at the resource that is available to the students and say, oh, students from our school have ABC resources at their disposal. Always remember that you are just one student out of thousands of students that will be attending. And what might work for a student, another international student coming from maybe Mexico may not work for you as an international student coming from Nigeria or from Africa. Now, what rankings may ignore? So most time when you go to and see to some of these or research and go to some of these ranking institutions, right? You will realize that they didn't tell you that the teaching quality and real learning results, how many students that are struggling, how many students that move to the next level or next semester, next year with other students. Ranking won't give you that degree of information. Ranking won't tell you about the quality of student life and if there will be some mental health support for you as a student, whether especially as an international student, and because this should matter to you. It may probably not tell you about the community that you probably might want to have whilst being studying away from home. Ranking will also tell you about the job preparations and career outcomes. So you will hear that students from our school, students from this school, get jobs in Fortune 500 companies, but they won't tell you, they may probably not tell you how many from your faculty that gets job into those organizations. Ranking won't also tell you about the student experiences, the clubs, the traditional things that a student should be able to do or to thrive in that school. it's not going to look at you as a person. It's not going to, the rankings of that school will not look at you, will not go through to tell you that you as an individual, as a student, that this is what and what that should fit you. Not going to start telling you that, because you are coming from ABC area, that you should think about the cost of living coming to ABC location, right? Ranking also won't tell you about campus safety and how, or inclusion, or how you'll be accepted in a school. However, you might see that this school takes about 70% international or 30% international students. But ranking won't be able to tell you how many students from your country or from your continent that will be attending or that is attending that school. So what does that tell you? There are limitations to ranking. There are limitations to a school being ranked. And one of those limitations is that it favors the wealthy institutions. So um, there are schools, of course, you know that all fingers are not equal, and the same thing, all schools are not equal. Some schools are quite wealthy that they can afford some degree of infrastructure that will make them to continue staying ranked. They can fund some certain projects and research that would also give them that favor to continue being on that ranking list. Another thing is that it encourages prestige chasing. So, for a student who is obsessed about how that school is, how the school is ranked, or how students are ranked, right? Or even parents that are so obsessed about how that a program is ranked, this is what ranking. So you might find out that they may not even get the best out of the program that they are going for, because to them, if it's not this school, no, you are not getting admitted. So they will say no to some good school that would have been a perfect fit, just because they're thinking about the ranking. Then it can also distort the university priorities, because the truth is ranking is not going to tell you the school's priority. You might assume that, oh, this particular school is looking for students that are high achieving, right? And you realize that they are looking for students that are more responsible, that are more hands-on, and that are looking forward to school where they will be a school that will better nurture students that are probably with a particular financial income status, right? Then another thing is that ranking overemphasizes on reputation and exclusivity, right? They think each time if you see someone that, or if you have a conversation with someone that is obsessed about ranking, you realize that all you will be hearing from them is, oh, that school is a very reputable institution, but that person, they never tell you if that school is it has a degree of safety that they probably will be looking for in a school. Because these are some of the facts or things that should matter to you as a student. So, highly ranked school is not always the best school for you. It is a good school, yes, but you as an individual, a highly ranked school may not be the best way. That the school is a best 10 in ABC may not be the best fit for you. Now, what truly matters beyond ranking? One, program fit. Ask yourself, does the program, yes, this program is in school A, is also in school B, but does it, is it best fit for me in this school? Even though that this school is is on the number, is on 10 highly ranked institution, but is my program strong in that particular university? Also think about career outcome and control, how unstable, or if there are some risk that that school might pose for you. There are actually some companies, as much as there are companies that want to employ a student or a graduate because of the university they attended, there are also some companies that may not employ students because of the institution they also attended. So think about opportunities, right? If a particular institution is highly ranked but does not have the much opportunity that you require as a student. You want to do internship, but they don't have approval. They can't give you approval to do internship. Think about that. It means that that school is not best fit for you. Think about the school that has the connection to the industry where you want to work as an engineering student, or as a student that want to have maybe opportunity, internship opportunity or industry experience in aeronautic engineering, and your institution, even though highly ranked, but may not have industry connections. Also think about employability rates. These are very important things to look at whilst you are looking at schools that you want to apply to. Then learning environment. Not all schools with fancy buildings, great laboratories would be the best learning environment for you. For someone who probably has been in a small size institution all their lives, you might just may want to continue in a small size university. So think about the size of class, think about the teaching style. So if you are a student that before you can probably get an A, you need to be in the classroom. You have no business going to or applying to a school just because it's highly ranked, but their teaching style does not work for you. If probably the teacher will say, "Oh, you read up and then we'll come and discuss." If that is not your style, I don't think that that school will be the best fit for you just because it's highly ranked. Also, the possibility of meeting with faculty, right? Many of the schools will tell you that, oh, we have open hours that where you can talk to your any faculty or any lecturer that you think you are struggling with their program. But not all of them will have that accessibility, or perhaps they might have it, but they will refer you to maybe a graduate assistant and won't be able to have that one-on-one that you probably desire because they probably have their hands full. Another thing that you should look at beyond ranking is costs and return on investment, right? Look at the tuition, how much it's going to cost you to go to school, look at the scholarships that they have, look at the opportunities that the school also provides you. And then, because these are the things that you are putting in at the beginning, at the back of your mind, you should also be thinking about, okay, if I have to do all this or get into this school or get this, maybe my tuition, I didn't get a tuition waiver, I didn't get so much fund scholarship, but at least would I be able to get internship opportunities that will help me gain industry experience, which will in turn help me get better opportunities while after graduation. So think about some of those things, and then also location. If you are someone that um uh didn't do your assignment very well, there are some of these schools that even though they're highly ranked, but they are tucked away in one rural area, and you didn't know, you didn't do your assignment well, you never asked. All that was on your mind is that this school is highly ranked and and it's in the US. So mentally you think every single place, every single location in the US is so urban, right? And until when you get on that plane and landed and they are telling you that you're going to take a 3 hours train to go to that university, and then you in that train wondering why are we passing through all these forests, or why are we taking this long to get to this location, only for you to realize that that school is one major um thing that the environment or that community actually has. So think about that as well. Think if you are someone that wants to go to school in a very quiet town, you have no business going to is applying to school that is in New York, right? So because you already told yourself, and if you're also someone that likes it in urban environment, you have no business applying to school that are in rural areas, right? Or developing parts of the country. Think about, okay, the job opportunities. So if finally I finish and I have to do my and I have to do other maybe do my CPT, um do I what do I need to put into my OPT, do I need to put into consideration? How do I think that location would work for me? I think another thing you might also need to think about is the weather condition of that location, right? For some of us that are coming from Africa, we are used to hot environment. We are used to we have sun, right? We are coming from a place where you are used to, instead of you to get so cold, you are fanning. Sometimes you realize that the coldest place that some of these students had been is probably in a bank, and all of a sudden they're going to a state where the weather is extreme winter, or maybe they're experiencing extreme winter, and it's their first time, and they're wondering, oh, I didn't check this very well before coming. So these are things you need to put into consideration while applying to school. And ranking from the undergraduate perspective. So, as an undergraduate student, how should you view ranking, right? Focus on exploration, focus on the general education, focus on the major, that program that you want to study. Leave what they've told you. See, if after you've researched very well, and after your research, you still realize that your school is part of the maybe on the first 10 or highest 10 ranked schools, good. But don't throw away a good school that is best fit for you just because it's not perceived or is not in the highly ranked school as you would have perceived. Think about the flexibility to change your career path. So if whilst you are doing this on researching, you just realize that really I'm someone that wants to build something, right? I want to build with my hands. Even though that I want to do something within the IT industry, but I want practical more than building with or going through codings, deep codings in order to build maybe an app. That means you probably might be looking at computer engineering, right? You're thinking about hardwares. So be that flexible. The truth is that when you start researching, you realize that some of the things that you had wished may not be your priority as a person, or may not even suit your personality. Finally, remember it's your career, not your parents' own. So that your parents are major stakeholders in your academic journey. I agree. But remember that it's you that will get into that classroom. It's you that will sit before professors. Yeah, it's you are the one that will write the exams. So whilst that they are pushing you to and saying no to every single school that you think you found and you love, also remember that if they say no to you, you need to tell them why you think that that school is the best fit for you. And for graduate students, focus on your specialization, focus on your research. It's very important. It's also good to try and apply to schools with great reputation, or perhaps the schools where your friends are attending. But think about yourself as an individual who needs to charter their own path. So you think about your own specialization. Both of you might be going for a PhD in pharmacy, but for one person it might be drug discovery, and there might be a different university that would help you do that research better. While for another person it might be pharmacology. So think more of what is your best specialization, and the school that will that will give you the much needed help and research opportunity that you require. Think program reputation matters more than university ranking. So having that at the back of your mind, that yes, for me, what I'm looking at is not best university, but I'm looking at best program in a university. So there are two different things. And then connect before committing. So make sure that you deeply connect with that school, and that's that school aligns more to you than you thinking of, because my friend is going, three of us are going there. In short, we promise ourselves that if we are going to do research, that we are going to go to ABC University. Connect first with that school, connect with the programs, connect with the research that you are doing before committing to that school. Are we still following? Are we still following? Let's do some. Please, if you are following, can you let me know if you're following? Give me a thumbs up on the chat room. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. So let's move on and look at a case study, right? So let us assume that student A, his name is Adamu, uh, decided to attend a top 10 ranked university. But however, for his program, that school has a poor program fit and also limited internship access for him, right? And we also have this student B, who is Bianca, attends top 100 university. So Bianca's school is not in the top 10 ranked university, but is in top 100, right? But for the program that Bianca will be going for, a very strong program in that university, multiple internships. So tell me in the chat room, who is likely to be more successful? Who is likely to be more successful? Student B, great. Great, student B. So student B, Bianca, is likely to even be a student that will perform better, will probably be a student that will be happier, will probably be a student that will come out with stronger grades, because everything that for the program fit, it aligns perfectly with what Bianca is going for. Another case study, right? Whilst I was going through this, and one of the things I thought about is, let's even look at comparison. Let us compare to see programs different. Let's even compare different ranking bodies and what they have ranked lately for a business school, right? So for Forbes had ranked University of Chicago, Booth School of Business, University of Chicago as number 1, Stanford at number 2, and Kellogg's at number 3. Whilst for best business schools for US ranking, as I think for Times is Massachusetts Institute of Technology for 1, Stanford 2, and University of UC Berkeley 3. So you see it. For you that you're busy, probably you are applying and you're busy bragging for your friends to say, "Oh, I'm going to Boots. He's been rated as number 1." You need to tell them. You need to cite where you are getting that your ranking from. Whilst for another person that is busy bragging from MIT School of Business, needs to also tell that, cite where that ranking is also coming from. So it's very important that anytime you're thinking about ranking, your sources should be quoted rightly. Now, one key mindset shift that you should do after today is remember that going to the highest ranked school does not mean that it's going to be the best fit for you. So have that mindset that I'm going to research for the best fit school for me. If it's a highly ranked school based on ABC, great. But if not, if it's highly ranked based on my program, it's still an amazing thing for me. Now, what is the practical advice that I'll give you as a student? Research program rankings and not just school rankings. Is um we have not said that ranking is not good, but remember that as a student, what should matter to you more is your program and not uh, the school as a larger this thing, the program ranking and not the school. If ranking is one of the things that matter to you the most, then talk to current students, talk to alumni, find them, go to LinkedIn, go to X, find students that are currently attending that school. Ask more questions. Ask them how the program in that school, how the curriculum, if they like it there. Because that's another thing. It should matter to you. Review the course curriculum. So one of the things is that school would also give you course curriculum to look at before, even while applying or even after being admitted. So review the course curriculum is very important. Check for internship opportunities, check employment statistics. This should matter to you because you don't want to go to a school that after graduation you realize that, oh, people from my school even rarely get recruited. Um, or that there's this dream company you've always worked for, but however, they don't recruit from your school. And also consider affordability. Your cost of attendance matters a lot. Um, you are not the only stakeholder in your academic journey. So, whilst having conversation with every other stakeholder, your advisor, your parents, also have at the back of your mind that you need to attend schools that you afford. You don't want to face embarrassments, right? And one thing I also want to remind you is that if you attended our general orientation before finding yourself here in this our Tuesday knowledge sharing, remember that told you during step one that there are key criteria to consider while applying to school. And these are the criteria: your program of study, your cost of attendance, financial aid and funding, opportunities, reputation, location, size, and faculty. On this list, we did not put ranking. But does that mean that ranking does not matter? It does matter, but it is not a key criteria as for us in Education USA. So finally, in conclusion, the best university is not the one at the top of a ranking list. It is usually the one that prepares you best for your future. So rankings should guide you, but it should never define your future. That's an important thing to take away from today's session. And please, if you are still with me, let me see your thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Great. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Maureen. All right. So, um, we I we have some references that you can look at, um, and then go through it. US and universities in USA ranking. So these are sources that if you can take a screenshot, you can check them out and look at what the rankings look like, and the more information about your program, researching for your program beyond rankings. And with that, we've I've come to the end of my presentation, and will now take your questions if you have anyone, and if you also have any statements or maybe contribution, please, it's highly welcome. So let's have your questions in the question box.